here we are, episode 59. Who is number 59?
I'll give you two guys, GCAT, because it's a great original number 59. Roman Josi, defenseman for the Nashville Predators, one of the top defensemen in the world right now. And another great forward for Team USA. That roster just got announced to Four Nations today. Jake Gensel, a former Penguin, now Tampa Bay Lightning, number 59.
Nice. So, I saw that the Four Nations have released the teams.
Yes.
Or at least I saw Canada and I saw USA.
Yeah, Finland and Sweden also got announced today.
They did? Okay. I haven't seen those two yet.
Yeah.
But how are they looking? What's your take? Really take?
Canada, the surprise of Canada, Seth Jarvis is the 13th forward. Some people thought maybe Zach Hyman would make the team. There's a few other guys that you could say, that could have filled that spot.
Seth Jarvis did make it though, right? Is that his name?
Who did?
Drew Doughty.
Drew Doughty did not make it.
But everyone thought he should have made it, is what I was reading.
Yes and no. Yeah, like he's getting up there. I mean, he was on that 2010 team at the Olympics.
Right, but he's like an elder statesman. He's like, guys,
he's an elder for sure.
Yeah.
They definitely could have found a spot for him on there. They took, I think Colton Parayko probably got his spot, a little bit more of a defensive defenseman, but the goaltending, I was a little surprised to see Montembeault as the third guy. But Team USA had some omissions too. Tage Thompson, the Buffalo Sabre, he didn't make the team. Cole Caulfield didn't make the team. Apparently, they went with guys who have played in big games before. The guys like a Tage Thompson and Caulfield who play for weaker NHL teams, they stayed away from. So
it should be a great tournament. Team you play on, I guess.
Yeah, the experience they were looking
victim of the team they're on right now.
Yes.
I wouldn't have thought that.
It happened in minor hockey as well, GCAT.
Yes, for sure, 100%. I think it does happen because I'm sure kids that want to move up that are on teams that aren't as good usually get looked over.
Yes,
more so than like a 2 or 3 player on a good team.
100%. Yeah, it can happen. It can be tough for if you're on a weaker team. To show well enough.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I guess in the professional league, I would have always thought it would have been more individual because their whole career is on stage every night, right?
For sure.
So you can see their games all the time. And in youth hockey, it's not the same. You can't see it. I guess you could go to Live Barn. You'd have to be really into it and do it all your own. But I would have thought it would have been more of an individual. I know you do. That sounds like what you do.
Probably watch more minor hockey on Live Barn than NHL these days.
That's funny. But anyway, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Now, this wasn't the only roster announcement today, GCAT. The GTHL also announced their rosters for the 2025 Top Prospects Game, fueled by Gatorade.
Nice.
And there's a Team Blue, a Team Red. The head coaches or the coaching staffs have not been named yet. That's going to be at a later date. I might know who one of them is, but I cannot confirm that quite yet.
It's not me. I have not been. I'm letting you know.
No, you are definitely not on the running
at all,
as far as I know. The rosters feature 8 different teams, with the Don Mills Flyers, no surprise, leading the way with 9 selections, followed by the Toronto Titans with 8. JRC has 6 players, 5 players from the Toronto Marlboros. The Red Wings and Vaughan Kings each have 4. Mississauga Rebels and North York Rangers have 2 players each.
Very nice.
And
when is that game?
That game will take place on January 29th, 2025 at Herb Carnegie Rink. Puck drop 7:30 with the doors opening at 6:30, just so if you want to catch all the pregame atmosphere. Maybe a live podcast from To the Rink.
I hope the G's listening. We would definitely do a live podcast from the rink at 6:30 on the 29th of January at Herb Carnegie. If not, maybe we'll just do it from the parking lot in my Jeep chair.
Exactly. We'll probably find a few parents out there having fun.
For sure. We could go. That's where the excitement is. And what is the prospect game? Can you tell everybody, is it it's just more, is it like our all-star game?
I think it's sort of like an all-star game, except unlike like a National Hockey League all-star game, this will be an incredibly intense game, and it's a huge opportunity for the kids who get to play it to play in front of. There will be a lot of scouts at this game because you have a lot of the top players at this age group playing against each other. So it's a great opportunity for them to show. I don't know how much, like if you have a huge game on that night, if that's going to raise your stock with the scouts, but it certainly wouldn't hurt. Although I do know one guy that played in the NHL, and he had a big game in junior hockey at an all-star game, and it actually led to him getting a scholarship. So you never know what can happen out of these kind of games.
So it's not like all-star games in NHL and professional sports is usually a fun weekend. Everyone's lighthearted, generally more lighthearted about the game.
Yeah, they used to, I think, be more competitive. Now they're absolutely the opposite of competitive.
They're the opposite. And they've become sort of secondary to all the stuff that goes around All-Star weekends and stuff.
All-Star weekends now are more about for the sponsors to have a good couple of days away.
That's right. And like what are all the skills competitions is what I'm looking for. Yeah. And then, but this prospect game is really more of a showcase. It's like, we're going to take our top talent in the G. We're going to get the U16. No AA kids make this. You have to be a AAA player to make it into this game.
I don't,
is that right?
There's certainly no AA players playing in this year. I don't know if a double player has ever been invited.
Like, you're so good at AA, you just decided to play AA because your buddies are there, but you're like clearly amazing.
If you opened up the I think Jacobs on the Avenue Road Ducks should be getting a sniff on this. He should be getting out there. Let's see.
Jacobs,
that would be fantastic.
Well, I get why they wouldn't pick a single A player, only because it is like 2 steps difference and there's no hitting, which is the biggest challenge. But I agree with you. A couple of those Avenue Road Ducks kids could definitely
handle themselves. They're big boys.
For sure. They're good. I wonder if a AA, like if you're an incredible, like you're like just wicked AA player, could you play the prospect game? That's an interesting question we would have for the G.
I'm sure there's probably been AA players over the years that maybe were good enough to play in a game like that. I think there would be some heads exploding of AAA parents who were passed over for a AA kid. But from a merit basis, I'm sure there's been kids that probably deserve to play in that game over the years.
And so you said Don Mill Flyers, and who was second place there?
Toronto Titans. So no surprise. I mean, the top 2 teams in the loop.
Do you know much?
Not every team got a player, so that was a little surprising.
Oh, that's interesting.
They certainly don't make it fair.
No, they don't pick one from everyone. It's not like that. It's not. It is truly done by like, these are the best players we think. Some sort of jury, I guess, is deciding that. Yeah,
I think they have like a panel of scouting experts that are obviously watching these kids in these games and want to have these kids play against each other.
And when you said scouts, like you're talking OHL scouts mainly there, right?
I would assume it'd be OHL scouts, yeah.
And some universities, maybe colleges, things
probably
like that.
Some maybe a few universities, but I think primary people they'd be talking to would be scouts from.
That'd be a good gig, eh? To be like a hockey scout for a top tier university in the States.
Yeah, I don't know if they like in hockey in the States. I think a lot of it's left to the assistant coaches. But I know in football, the money it's becoming such a big money thing that they actually are hiring general managers who are running these college football teams like they're actually pro teams, and they're like doing the scouting and picking the players and stuff. It's pretty interesting.
It's evolution, baby. Well, listen, I know you'd mentioned the Toronto Titans, and I didn't know a lot about the Toronto Titans. They felt like a newer team to the GTHL, which I believe they are. And so on this week's episode, guess what I have, Puff?
You're going to tell us some information.
I'm going to tell. Who are the Toronto Titans?
Who are they?
It's funny you ask, Puffy, because I got it right here. They're a prominent AAA GTHL team based in Toronto. The team was established in 2002, evolving out of the Wexford Raiders minor midget AAA team following Hockey Canada's reconstruction of age categories to make midget a 3-year division. I don't know. Do you know what that means when I say that?
I would guess it means midget is 16, 17, and 18. I guess U18.
Like so anyway, they came from the Wexford Raiders is what I'm what this is saying here. So 2002, 2007, the organization officially adapted the Toronto Titans name. And they obviously were in the G the whole time. They secured a playoff championship in 2009, making a significant achievement in the team's hockey history. I get this is the U16. Several players who advanced their higher levels hockey began with the Toronto Titans. Notable alumni. Okay. Andreas
Athanasiou.
Yeah. Do you know him?
Yes, he plays on. I'm not sure where he's right now. He was a Detroit Red Wing for a long time, but he's moved on.
So he's known for his speed and offensive skills.
One of the fastest players in the league for sure.
And then Marcus Phillips. Do you know him?
Do not
know. A defenseman who made significant contributions at the professional level. This is just all on the internet, so I'm just getting some facts, but that was who that was. But yeah, so, there wasn't a ton about them beyond sort of what I've already called out there. But the Toronto Titans, they've been around for a few years now. They really have been able to prosper into the one of the top tier teams, that is in the U16 division, I guess. And then there's a cycle through that, right? So like in U15, they might not be in the top, but for whatever reason, in the U16 right now, Toronto Titans are in that world.
Yes. They're number one for that, or they're one of the top teams in the 09, but outside of that, I think they've had some teams that are doing a little bit better, but there've been a lot of weak teams as well.
Yeah. They have some sponsors that the Toronto Titans, sorry, not sponsors. I meant they have a home rink. Their home rink is the Scotia Pond. I did want to call that, which we know is a premier facility. And there wasn't a ton about the Toronto Titans. I'll be honest with you. It was a tough one to find a lot of information on. But they also were a top candidate last season when we did best logos. Toronto Titans was up there for us.
Yes, you like the Toronto Titans logo.
I do. I like them. But anyway, the Toronto Titans, a little bit about them. Was really hard to find really a lot about information about them. So if anyone from the Toronto Titans is listening, we'd love to have you on because
for sure.
Yeah, I would like to know more about the Toronto Titans. And anyway, that's all I got for you on that one.
Yeah, it seems it's an organization that I don't know if they really have a feeder. You know how like the Clive's League or the Clever. I don't know if one of those teams that feeds into them. They tend not to come out hot in the U10.
And then they grow over time. Yeah,
they tend to be they're one of the weaker teams usually. And then sometimes they're able to turn it around and sometimes it doesn't work out for that age group.
I was talking to some parents this weekend, and it's too bad there's not another trip. Because the Wexford team would have been on East End team, right?
100%. Yeah, their home rink was Scarborough Gardens.
How can the East Toronto not have a AAA team?
Yeah,
I think this is actually one of the biggest shames of the GTHL.
Yeah, it would make more sense for that Toronto Titans team to still be in the East End.
They're all north and west. They're all Mississauga, or they're all playing out of the pond, or they're all.
See, I did hear a rumor that is the GTHL's goal is to eventually move all the AAA teams to play out of the pond.
Oh, it becomes like a AAA facility. A lot.
Yeah, and so then that way it opens up the district for bringing kids in because it's a more central location. So then, kids that are north of the city, it's not that far. Kids that are west or east, it's sort of central, right?
Okay. Well, I mean,
but I don't know if that's true. That's a rumor.
I think Ted Reeve would be a great place for a AAA team.
Oh, fantastic. Well, the old Scarborough Gardens, which is being rebuilt, that would be a fantastic place for a team.
Yeah. Anyway, how was your hockey weekend? Did you have a busy hockey weekend?
Not too bad. Austin's team, we played a couple games. We had a couple losses. We're still struggling to get it going here. But we have a big game against Ted Reeve on Sunday. So hopefully we can get our first league W. And Bears team's been very quiet the last couple of weeks. We only had the one game. We played North Toronto, and for the second time this year, they beat us. And they're the only team to beat us in league play this year. So it was a tight game, but they played well. They've improved a lot this year. So they're nipping at our heels in the standings. So hopefully,
North Toronto kids.
Yeah, we get it. Well, the thing is, over the years, like dating back to NYHL days, we'd always beat them. Even though they've always been a really talented team, they've had a lot of good players. For whatever reason, we always had their number. And so this year they've turned it around on us. They have our number for sure. So
right on.
It's been good. Yeah, we've lost 4 games out of 28 this year, and 2 of them are to the North Toronto.
Huh. Interesting. Well, we had a busy weekend. In fact, I have been Thursday night. I was at Don Mills. Friday from 8:30, 9 o'clock till about 6 o'clock at night, Scotia Pond. Saturday, same thing, Scotia Pond all day. Sunday, Scotia Pond all day. 7 games, 4 days, Scotia Pond for 3 of them, and literally showed up in the morning and watched, played a game that, started at 10, say, or to 9:30, 10, ended at like 11:30, 12. Then we have another game at like 3 that ends at like 5:30 or 5 or whatever it is, like 3 long days. We were in the Challenger A Cup, which,
nice.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun tournament. We played all these teams that we aren't in our division. Usually we like see a team, that we play regularly.
Yeah.
But this was not the case. We played Arundel, we played Meadowvale, we played the West Mall, who we did see in Montreal a few weeks ago, and Duffield. And then we had to play Arundel twice, the way it worked out, and West Mall twice. And so anyway, it was great. Great weekend. Lots of hockey. The boys had a ton of hockey.
Sounds like you made a final, though. We did. The U16 Ted Reeve crew. We've won like 6 or 7 of our last 8, I guess, is how it would be. We've had some winning happening over on this team, which is good. Little change from the beginning of the season. So we have, the truth is the next few weeks we have some tough games again. So we're coming into a cycle that might be a little harder, but the boys seem to have some stamina now and are going a bit, and so we'll see what the harder teams will be like. But we did go to the final in this Challenger A Cup, which was really a lot of fun. You as a parent, you get I don't know, like I get super stressed. Do you?
Well, because literally Ted Reeve Thunder single A U16 is like my favorite sports team now. They're bigger than like the Jays or like the the Leafs or anything, because I watch those, but I am invested into the U16 single A Ted Reeve team,
100%.
It's funny. I'm like, oh God, you just get so hooked into it. But, so we made it all the way to the finals, and we had to meet West Mall. We played West Mall in the final, which was a tough game. We had played them on the Saturday, and beat them. We beat them like 4-1 or something like that. We had lost to them in Montreal. We beat them on the Saturday, and we were feeling good. We had some really good games after that. We were really dominating on goals. And then, just sometimes it doesn't work out, and that's kind of what happened in the final. The team, West Mall had played pretty well, I would say. They played really well. And we played really well too, but just not well enough to put the W up. So we got the runner-up position on that. So
that's still a great weekend.
It was a great weekend, except for, like, if you want me to be honest with you, I got into, I wouldn't say a little scuff, I got into a little, unlike the GCats normal, who usually just laughs and listens and sort of laughs and listens and sort of jokes with the dads I'm with and stuff. I actually had a back and forth with one of the parents at the last game, or a few of the parents
on
at the last game.
West Mall.
They were yes, and I don't.
Oh my God, this is amazing!
Yeah, because we had to get the medals, right? You do the medal ceremony at the end, and one of our kids, I'll leave it all names blank, but he was going up to get. I left a little. We were getting our medals. I saw Ozzy get his medal, and I was with my parents, and I was helping them out a little faster, a little earlier. So as the medals were happening, we were leaving. And one of the kids on the team was going up to get the medal, and I heard a few parents boo the kid getting it. Yeah, boo one of our players. I have to call this out. Oh my
God!
And so I couldn't handle it. I was just like,
you shouldn't handle that." And
the game was like fine, and there's rough moments, but it wasn't like controversial game. It wasn't like cheap shots or anything. They've gotten little. We get in these little like battles, but they're harmless. They're just how the kids play at 16. I think
they're competitive.
U16. And so I walked up to the family. I put my arm around them and I said, you're booing a 15-year-old.
Nice.
That's not cool. And let's just say that didn't land well with them. And
Perfect.
yeah, they got really mad at me for saying this to them. And they started saying, well, that, kid did this and this. I go, it doesn't matter. He's 15. And in fact, he's 14, I think, actually, to be honest with you. And I just said, you don't boo a 15-year-old, guys. You just don't do it. It's not cool. And anyway, they then told me that I was, they told me where to go. And
really?
I just like smiled and walked out with my parents. But it was like the first time ever I had a little interaction where I just couldn't help it. I was walking right by. I heard them booing a kid, and I couldn't do it. So
I love it. I love that you got in there right on the grill.
Got in their grill.
Good job.
It wasn't cool. No matter what the kids do, you don't do that to the kid. Unless it's you can't. It's sports. It's just kids' sports, and they're booing a kid. It's not cool.
Yeah. I we had it the week before with we were playing North York, and one of their dads was chirping our goalie. And I'm like, you don't engage with players on the ice. You're a parent in the stands. Watch your kid. That's
100%.
If you want to cheer for your team, go ahead. But you don't chirp the kids on the ice.
No. And it's like a domino effect, because it was like a couple of their parents, but then it was like 4 or 5 of them, in this little area. And I was like, I couldn't believe it, to be honest. So anyway, it was a fine game. I have nothing against the team. Hopefully it's just, lessons learned along the way.
I know.
Well, whatever. I'm too nice to care really overly, but I just couldn't handle the booing of a kid. No. There's 2 things that I don't really like. And as I get older, the 2 things I don't like is obviously booing kids, or talking to kids. And I don't like it when people cheer on a penalty. I don't know why. I don't think that's nice to do either. Either the kid has usually made a mistake, first of all, very at least in my world, I don't think many of the penalties are overly intentional and going to try to hurt this other person. I hate it when the parents cheer for the penalty. I don't know why. I don't like that.
We might be on different sides of that.
I can understand that. I've said this, and I know other people do it, but I just don't love the cheer for the penalty. But
I will say, not
in NHL, I don't care. But
but I cheer for the player drawing the penalty.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Cheering for the referee getting the call right. Or making a call.
Okay, yeah. I can see
welcome
different.
to
I
the
can
game,
be a little
stripes.
I can be a little bit convinced to change my mind on that, maybe in a certain situation. But anyway, c'est la vie. That was the end of the tournament. Challenger A Cup. It was a lot of good. It was good. The GTHL. I don't know who put it on or how it was.
I think it's a GTHL tournament.
Yeah, I think so too. I saw some people that had very nice GTHL swag walking around a lot that week. Yeah. Oh. And all their parking was full. No, they don't want to talk to me. We've reached out enough, Puffy. We've reached out enough. They don't want to talk to us.
Now we're desperate.
We got to play harder to get, But anyway, that was my weekend at the Challenger A Cup and my experience. But yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Well, that seems like a pretty positive experience. Except
overall.
For some idiots from West Hill, but
yeah. But you know what else is good there? What? Underrated. 2 things underrated up in that area. Or one's underrated, one's overrated. Underrated, California sandwiches. Do you ever hit that place up there on the corner?
Tanya has. She likes it. I haven't really hit there yet, so
it's good.
I can't say.
I'm a big sandwich guy, though. So it's good.
I'm becoming a sandwich guy. So I maybe should try it.
Underrated? The most underrated thing? Underrated? Overrated. Yeah. Is making that left off the Allen onto the left you have to make. It is the worst. That is the worst left in the city.
I go straight through.
Yeah, and you go through,
and then you make the next left.
Yeah,
you go the next left, and you squeak through the condos.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. That's a mess. They should make it better. Everyone's trying to go to the pond. Who are we kidding?
Yeah. You have the pond in Chestwood. Where else would you want to go around there?
Anyway. With that, we've talked a lot. Let's get Stoff in here. Let's find out what's going on in the rest of the G after the Challenger A Cup.
Pleasure to be on with you, gentlemen, as always. I actually just the other day saw a TikTok video someone made about that very left turn at the Allen.
Really?
That's where dreams and hopes go to die.
That's hilarious. It's true. It's the worst. If I ever became mayor, Puffy, if we ever become... we're running.
I think we're changing.
That advanced green will be like a minute and a half long.
For sure. Why wouldn't it be?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Crazy, crazy. Also, shout out to California Sandwiches. We're definitely open to a sponsorship should they offer us one.
That was, yeah. Okay, good.
Delicious veal sandwiches. We could definitely work a to the rink combo, I'm sure. Anyways, back to the stock market, and there's a lot to get to, so we'll get right to it. Puffy, last week you talked about it. One of the marquee events on the minor hockey calendar, the Silver Stick Finals, took place in Whitby last weekend for the AAA U10, U12, U14, and U16 divisions. So as always, let's start with the 2009 U16 group. What happened?
Well, Stoff, last weekend in Whitby can be described in one word, and it was chaos. The favorites going in, the top-ranked club team in North America, the Don Mills Flyers, were not only upset in the quarterfinals, 2-1 by JRC, they were lucky to even be in the quarterfinals after going 2-1-1 in round-robin play. The surprises did not end there, as the second-ranked in Ontario Toronto Titans also lost in the quarters 2-1 to Little Caesars. The semifinals were more of the same, as the Huron-Perth Lakers upset JRC 2-1, and they faced off against the Toronto Red Wings, who somehow managed a 4-3 win over the Little Caesars in the other semi. If you had a Red Wings-Lakers final before this tournament, you should be in favor of legalized gambling on youth sports, because you would have won a bundle of money with that pick. The final saw the Red Wings take a 2-1 lead early in the third, only to see the Lakers tie it with just over 8 minutes left and then win it in overtime on a Jake Murray unassisted goal. I spoke to my dad, Don Cameron, head scout for To The Rink podcast productions, and he was in attendance for multiple games over the weekend, and he came away very impressed by the Lakers and deemed them deserving champions. The leading goal scorer for the tournament was the Red Wings' Brenner Lamons, who had 7 goals and 14 points in 7 games.
Oh, that Brenner, getting it done. Sounds like an incredibly high level of hockey was played in Whitby last weekend. What about the younger age divisions? How did those play out?
Let's start with the U10, where the third-ranked in Ontario Don Mills Flyers, the fifth-ranked Toronto Marlboros, and the seventh-ranked Young Nats represented the G. The Flyers and the Young Nats had strong round robins, advancing to the quarterfinals before suffering big defeats. The final was an all-American battle, with the Pittsburgh Penguins beating the Mid-Fairfield Junior Rangers 2-1. The U12 division also saw the G teams come up short, with JRC and the Toronto Marlboros both losing heartbreakers in the semifinals. The Marlboros held a 5-3 lead late in the third before 3 straight goals by the Chicago Reapers, with the winner scored with just 12 seconds remaining. JRC was no better off, falling 2-1 in triple overtime to Chicago Team Illinois. My Chicago area correspondent warned me that these two teams were lights out, and they came through in the clutch last weekend. The final was just as close, with Chicago Team Illinois winning 6-5 in overtime to take the crown. The U14 2011 age group saw an all-G semifinal, with the top-ranked AAA team in Ontario, the Vaughan Kings, facing the second-ranked in Ontario, JRC. The Canadians jumped out to an early 2-0 lead before the Kings roared back with 6 straight goals to book their place in the final. Waiting for them was my dad's favorite team of the weekend, the 2011 Little Caesars, and the Americans jumped out to a 2-0 lead and hung on for a 2-1 win, bringing the Silver Stick back south of the border.
Oh, man. First the tariffs, now this. We can't catch a break up here, boys. Not good. Gonna have to bring that trophy back up to Canada, rather. Well, it wasn't just the AAA teams putting on a show last weekend. In Mississauga, the Paul Coffey AA tournament took place. How did the G teams fare there?
I hope Paul Coffey was on hand last weekend, Stoff, because the local boys would have made it worth his while. The U12 2013 Markham Islanders, ranked 4th in Ontario, were a force all weekend, winning all 5 games, beating the 13th ranked Canada Blazers 4-1 in the final to take home the title. The U13 2012 age group proved to be a very tight division, with no teams going undefeated in round-robin play. But in the end, it was the 13th-ranked Vaughan Rangers coming out on top over the 20th-ranked Gloucester Rangers 4-3 in overtime. U14 2011 age group once again saw a GTHL team come out on top with the 29th ranked Markham Islanders rolling to a 7-0 win over Timmins North Stars in the final. And finally, the U15 final came down to the 23rd ranked Mississauga Terriers against the 14th ranked South Simcoe Storm. And just like at the Silver Stick finals in Georgina, the Storm lost a heartbreaker in overtime to a team from the G, this time 2-1 to the Terriers in front of a very happy local fan base.
Well, good for them. Good for the local fan base. Now, in the story we broke a little earlier, GCAT talked about his Ted Reeve Thunder making it all the way to the U16 final in the Challenge Cup tournament in Toronto, and the coastal beef that ensued afterwards. But how did the G teams fare in the younger divisions?
Well, Stoff, the U15 2010 age group saw an all-G final in what could be a preview of this year's City final, with the top team in the West, the Toronto Eagles, facing the top team in the East, the Scarborough Ice Raiders. A tight checking game at Scotia Pond saw the Ice Raiders take a 1-0 lead into the third. However, a pair of Sullivan-McCormick goals proved to be the difference in a 2-1 Eagles win. In the U14 division, West Hill Golden Hawks had an undefeated run to the final, where they ran into the top-ranked 2011 single-A no-check team in Ontario, the Kitchener Rangers. West Hill jumped out to a 1-0 lead after one, but a goal and assist from the Rangers' Braden Brown was a difference in a 3-1 Rangers win, spoiling the party for the Golden Hawks.
Ooh, 3 unanswered from the Rangers. Live and learn, Hawks. Live and learn.
There was a lot of Rangers action this past weekend.
Well, as GCAT's pointed out before, there just tends to be with every third team being called the Rangers. I think
right.
It's a pretty safe
You could just
bet.
bet on the Rangers, yeah, and you're already in the winning bucket.
Absolutely. In the winning bucket is a good way to put it. And with that, another week in the books. See you next week, boys.
Awesome. Thanks, Duff.
I love how he does his little things. He just comes in and out.
Yeah. Anyway, that's stuff. So busy week. That Silver Stick, I know that's a big one. That was a big one, eh? That was and a real upset, both sides.
Real upsets. I mean, like the Don Mills Flyers team, they barely lose. And I couldn't believe it when I was following it along, where they were, struggling. They were very lucky to even make it in the quarterfinals. And I was certain when they made it to the quarters that they're going to win it. Like they had their sort of stumble, and now they're going to sort of take over. But, good on the teams, good on the Red Wings. I mean, that's a huge accomplishment for them, just making the final.
Yeah, that's great. I know some of the at least one of our kids went and watched it on the Friday night, went and took some pictures and watched the games. It seems like they had a good crowd there watching, which is great. I love seeing that. Yeah,
I was planning on going out, but I wasn't feeling well last weekend, so I passed. My dad was like, I think he was at everything. I told him about it, and he lives out in Whitby, and he loves his minor hockey.
Oh, right. Yeah,
but even he was saying when I saw him on Tuesday night, he's like, yeah, I might be a little hockeyed out. I'm like, yeah, no.
There you go.
He went to everything, though.
Yeah.
He loved that 2011 Little Caesars team. He said they were dynamite.
Yeah, you know what's funny is I was looking up the Little Caesars the other day because I was like, are they really called Little Caesars? I don't know. I was, when you're at, you're doing your thing and you're just kind of bored and you think of something, you're like, I'm going to look that up. And I did that with Little Caesars. I was like, is this really named after the pizza chain? Or is this just like they were called Little Caesars and I'm misunderstanding it and they aren't actually sponsored by the Little Caesars pizza chain? It's just a team called Little Caesars.
But no.
Wrong. No, they are literally the Little Caesars hockey, which makes me like, it's interesting, with hockey being so popular here in Canada, that no great Canadian chain has taken the opportunity to do that. Like,
you think why wouldn't
something
Canadian
like that,
Tire?
that's a little bit different. Like that was exactly who I was thinking of, like the Canadian Tire U16s, and everyone's like, oh, they're unreal, they're or the Tim Hortons, whoever, or like, I don't know, pick your next Canadian chain, but Mr. Sub, which is far more superior than Subway, by the way, hot take. But
that is a hot take.
I know, and I stand by it. So anyway, interesting. Well, I'm glad your dad enjoyed his time there, though.
He loved it.
Good.
He had a good time.
So yeah, we got no hockey for the rest of the week. We have some practices. And then we don't play again till Sunday night. So like we finished on Sunday. So we have a full week of no games until this coming Sunday. Don't know who we play.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we played last week though. We did on our regular season. We had a win last week too with the Shamrocks going into the tournament, which is good. Actually, at that game, Ozzy got a hat trick. First hat trick I think he's ever had.
I heard. It's very, very impressive.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, it was a cool moment to watch that happen. So that was fun.
Did you throw your hat on the ice?
I couldn't get it over the netting.
The netting.
Couldn't get over the netting.
That's awesome.
So no, I didn't.
You guys play Forest Hill, so big game.
Big game. But I think we can do it. You know, I think the boys got it in them. All right. Well. Anything left for you in the next couple of weeks that we should talk about? Any tournaments, anything big coming up? Or is it regular season into the holidays for you?
This weekend for us, for the teams, we're just regular season until the Barrett's team is playing a tournament in Ottawa during the World Juniors.
Yeah, that's right. So, I knew that. So that'll be fun.
So that'll be a good time. I'm working the World Juniors, so it'll be nice for me while I'm working to maybe I'll sneak out and go watch the tournament while the big boys tournament's going on. So that'll be good. But as far as other G teams, there's some big tournaments going on this weekend. Staff's Vaughan Kings are hosting a tournament this weekend at Westwood. Georgina AA Silver Stick for U10, U12, U14, and U16 is taking place. Niagara Falls has a tournament for AA teams, and Newmarket for single and AA teams. So lots of teams are going to be playing.
Doesn't stop, does it? Doesn't really stop.
No, usually by December the tournaments sort of slow down, but this seems to be a pretty busy week still.
Yeah. My sister actually just got back from California. They were in a tournament last weekend in LA.
That's awesome.
The girls team, the Mississauga Hurricanes, and they won. And,
that's great.
Yeah, they won gold down in California there. Pretty neat, I think. Yeah.
It's awesome. It's always cool when you can win a tournament in the States.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, that seemed like a cool trip to go take, an LA trip to go play hockey.
Oh yeah, we were looking at doing Vegas and Nashville, but we really found it hard to find the right competition.
Right, like because you were too good.
Yeah, we were either finding where it wasn't good enough or maybe a little too challenging. So we're a little sweet spot.
Something in the middle. All right, well, I think that's all we have for this week on To The Rink podcast. We'll be back next week. But before we go, Puff, as we do, we always pick our song of the week. Who do you have?
My song is it's an old song, but I heard it for the first time like last week, and I've been listening to it quite a bit. It's called Grills by Nelly and Paul Wall. It's probably 15 years old or whatever, but it's a great banger. But it's just like, it's one of those ones with generational. Like my kids are like putting it on, like this is a great beat, great song, and my guys are like, no. But I think if you put it on if you had that in a mix in a dressing room, I think that the kids would get into it after a little while.
Their hip hop is different than our hip hop.
It is, but they reject our hip hop. But I think that if you get them listening to it, then it'll get into them. I don't know how you can't like the old hip hop.
Don't even get, that's a whole other podcast. Don't get me started on that one. But okay, good. I like it. I know the song. I don't know it well, but good call bringing that one back. So mine is You'll Be Proud. I actually am picking a country song, I think, for the first time ever, really, maybe. Well, no, sorry, I picked that Morgan Wallen song, like I had some help, but that's more of a pop song.
Yeah.
But Homegrown, which is a few years old, by Zach Brown band.
Great song.
Yeah, great song. It's on one of my shuffles. I heard it this morning, and I was like, I'm going to use this. This is a great song. And it's an easy song to learn the lyrics, so it's an easy song you can start singing loudly in your car by yourself. Yeah. Good song. Really good song. Awesome. Homegrown. Yeah, Zach Brown. Nice. All right. Well, with that, anything else you got for the listeners this week, Puff, or is that it for everybody?
I think that's it. Just just be careful. If you're mouthing off to kids, GCAT might be behind you.
Just don't boo them.
It might not come so nice next time. It might come correct.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Rink podcast. Please check us out on YouTube and Spotify and Apple and all the other great places. Send us your DMs if you have any questions or any ideas, show ideas or guest ideas. And other than that, have a great week in the G, and we'll catch you soon. Thanks for listening. Stop. Thanks for everything. We'll talk to everybody soon.